what are expectations for Cade? Like, what does that look like?
So it's tricky, right? Because at the end of the day, this will be his quote unquote second year. He only played 12 games last year.
Yeah.
But he does have the benefit of being in an NBA organization, being around the team, being able to lift weights, work out. Um, so it's and there's also the factor of the Pistons are ready to like turn a corner.
Yeah.
So it's tricky because he does deserve the grace of somebody who's only in his second year, but technically it's his third year. The Pistons do need to see they need somebody to emerge as a budding star, and we all think Cade is that. He just has to stay healthy and do it consistently over a stretch of time. So, I mean, for me, it's like, can Cade be in the conversation of being? And this seems like a lot, but I think he can do it. Like, is he enter the conversation of a top 25 player this year? And I think that's like, again, that's a lot to ask of somebody who's hasn't even, I don't even know if he's played a full NBA season between first 2 years. I don't think so. There's no way he did. There's no
Yeah.
way he did.
60 or 76 total games.
Yeah. That's a lot to ask for somebody, right?
But
But
also a guy that was picked number one overall.
right,
A
exactly.
guy, a guy that was on this select team that
Yep,
clearly you're one of the best 50 guys in the league if you're on the select team.
exactly. And had a chance to be on the big boy team. So I think if he can walk away from the season and everybody kind of agrees that he's in that top 25, I think that's a win all across the board, because if that happens, I think the Pistons make the leap that they need to make. And I don't necessarily think that's play in, but because they only had 17 wins last year, I don't think they were 17 wins bad when you look at their roster. It's just who was available. But if they can, I think that for them, the minimum is 30. And if Cade's a top 25 player, I think they get there. I don't want to say comfortably, but I think they get there.
Yeah. What are what's everybody feeling about his shooting? I'm an Oklahoma State alumni, and so I watched him at Oklahoma State, almost every game.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he was going to be a really good shooter at the
Yeah.
NBA level. I really
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
And he just hadn't been that yet. The
Nope.
small sample of last season, 27% from three, rookie season, 31%. Some of it I think is like this, just his decision making as a 3-point shooter, I think could get better.
Yeah.
But what are like the prevailing thoughts around, Detroit about his shooting?
So I I'm not worried about it. I think fans are ready to see it happen because like you, they saw what he did in college. They see that like the shot looks good.
Yeah.
They've seen stretches. Um, I asked him about it at Summer League, and I just because he's coming off the shin thing, I was like, did that has that impacted the 3-point shooting? Do you think? And he's like, no, to be honest, like I just it's taken like I'm still getting adjusted to it. And that's fair. And I think that's one thing that a lot of outside people outside of the league don't really factor in. Like it's a hike. It's a big difference from college. Like if you, I'd recommend anybody if they have the opportunity to go stand at the top of the 3-point line on an NBA floor shortly after stepping on a college one. Like it's a hike, and there is a difference. And then you're not just factoring in the distance, right? You're factoring in the intensity of the play. You're still getting adjusted to your legs having to play at a professional level. Like it's you're going up and down the floor. Like you're not just shooting threes, you're shooting threes running up and down the floor against NBA players. So there is an adjustment. Um, I think again, I think Cade's going to be a good shooter. And when I say good, it's kind of like people view Trey Young as a good shooter, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at the numbers, he's 34, 35% for his
Mm-hmm.
career, but it's high volume.
Yeah.
So I think Cade can get there. Um, and I think he
Yeah.
will
Same
get
with
there.
Booker as well.
Same with
Like that's
Booker.
like,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. 100%. And like he's been very, very good from the mid range. Cade has like we're talking about DeMar DeRozan levels at times. Um, and but the 3-point shot's gonna, I think, aside from the turnovers, is going to determine the level of stardom, and I think he gets there. I do. I think he's had a lot of time with the shin injury to work on kind of the basic mechanics of his shot, um, to get the any tweaks that needed to happen, and then he couldn't go up and down 5-on-5 for a while. So I'm sure he did a lot of 3-point shooting. So yeah, I think people are ready to see that translate like now.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody's like fearful that it's going to be like how it has been for his whole career.
Mm-hmm. I also, just before we move on, want to make sure that everybody knows any of these fat pictures of Cade are fake, right?
Yes, they are very fake. Very, very fake. He has put on weight, but it's good weight, like muscle.
Yeah.
Like he looks different. He looks like a NFL kind of receiver now.
Yeah. Shout out to whoever did those fake pictures of him. They look great. Like,
No
great
shout out to
job.
him because I had to sit on Twitter in June and tell people to relax.
Yeah. That's something that people probably don't think about, is that a small thing like a Photoshop could like blow up your day as like the
Yeah.
person who's like telling people about like what's going on with the Pistons.
Well, it even got worse, and I don't know how many people outside of like Pistons Twitter saw it, but to go with the photos, a guy took one of my stories about Cade
I did see
and like
this.
and doctored it to make it look like I wrote a story about him gaining weight, which then
Yeah.
like the photos were fine, like that's the internet, right? Well, then when
Yeah.
you're starting to like alter my stories and making fake ones with the company attached to it, that's when I gotta like say you gotta relax.
Yeah, that is messed up.
Yeah, that part that's what triggered, like that's what pissed me off. But
Yeah.
yeah, they're fake. They're very fake. Cade is. I don't know if people have seen photos of like what Cade like looks like. It started to you see the transformation like halfway through last season, and I posted photos when we saw him like on the floor during the season, like on the floor while the team's practicing. He wasn't practicing, but yeah, he's noticeably put on like muscle, which
Yeah.
is impressive for somebody who's a vegan.